The square root is actually known as the principal square root, which is defined as the side length of a square. So when we take the square root, we're finding the side length of the square, which means then that the square root is always a positive value. So what we can sometimes do is define the square root in this way, where the square root of the area is going to give us the positive side length of that square. So the square root is always defined as positive. Now, where this can be a little bit confusing is when we start dealing with these expressions like this, the square root of -3 squared. And when we do this, it's important to recognize that that's going to be +3 because the principal square root, the square root is always defined as positive. Now, what this shows then is that the square and square root are actually not perfect opposites of each other, because if they were perfect opposites, we would end up with -3 because the square and the square root just undo each other. So they're not quite perfect opposites, so we just have to be careful that anytime we square root something, the answer is always going to be positive. So in this case here, it works okay because the square and the square root are opposites of each other, and we end up with 18. Okay, but where this fails is when we have this negative here. Okay, the square and the square root in this case are not perfect opposites of each other.